I cannot believe Tekashi 6ix9ine is a fucking idiot.
He's out, right?
He's out.
Dude,
but
he
the
figured
first
out
thing
Instagram.
he did is, why everybody calling me a snitch? I'm missing something.
He figured out social media. I'll give him that.
But all right, so Kyle, this is Nick. Nick, I mean, you can't see him.
Nick. Yeah, I'm sorry, my webcam's busted.
Okay, I'm just gonna be looking at you at a name, so I'm just gonna assume. Nice to meet you.
Anyway, so I'm gonna start it off. So, guys, welcome to the podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. With us today, we have a special guest, Kyle Harrison. He's a CrossFit Level 1 trainer. He goes to Boulder. He is the CMO of Alphatech Apparel, which is the chief of marketing. So, Kyle, do you want to introduce anything else you want to add there, buddy, or are you all good?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
All right. So the first question we're going to start off with is, how has CrossFit impacted your life?
Oh, man. CrossFit probably changed my life more than anything I've ever done. First of all, it really changed my health. I wasn't the most healthy person before I started CrossFit. I was a little overweight, but then I found CrossFit when I turned 16. That changed my life forever. Got me to love exercise, develop my passion for movement and health in general. So yeah, I'm totally thankful for it in that aspect.
When you work out, was at the Motown when you were in.
Yep.
You were at the
Shout out CrossFit Morristown, New Jersey. Haven't been there in a while because I live in Colorado now, but I miss it. They're great.
You still do CrossFit out in Colorado?
I
do on and off. I don't go to a gym anymore, but I do some of my own stuff at home.
What do you got?
So what made you go more towards CrossFit than the traditional lifting and weight room and stuff like that?
Well, to be honest, my mother started doing CrossFit, my family before anybody else, and the way I discovered it is she signed me up for the kids class, which CrossFit Morristown ran a kids class and a teens program. So she kind of signed me up for it, and I went unknowingly, tried my first class, and I was like, wow, that was actually really fun. The hour of exercise went by super fast. I was kind of dreading it because I wasn't expecting to have fun at the gym. So that was a super good surprise. And after my first experience with CrossFit, I couldn't imagine doing anything else, so I stuck with it.
So what are the differences between, for somebody who's watching this and, because everyone's heard of CrossFit, but not everyone kind of knows what exactly it means, what you're doing in CrossFit. So what would you say is differences between CrossFit and your traditional weightlifting?
Mostly the biggest difference I would say is in the definition of CrossFit itself. So the way they define it is constantly varied movements at a high rate of intensity. So what they mean by constantly varied is we have such a wide range of movements that we do, from Olympic weightlifting, which is your deadlift, your snatch, your clean and jerk, your press, anything with a barbell, to running, rowing, endurance, gymnastics. You have your pull-ups, you have your more advanced stuff like your ring muscle-ups, your handstand walks, and then you also have a wide variety of dumbbell movements. So pretty much a lot of different aspects of traditional exercising. They put it together, and every day you do a different program, different movements, different time structure. So when you pair that with high intensity, you get kind of this recipe for a nice little ass-kicking workout.
And you recently, you did a competition, right? I remember seeing some time ago that you'd done your first competition.
Yeah, so I did my first competition, I believe when I was 17 in New Jersey, in Somerville, at a gym called CrossFit Clue. And that was super fun. That's when I kind of realized that, well, I'm really good at this. And maybe if I took it seriously, I could A, start coaching, which I did later, which became another passion of mine, and B, start competing a little more seriously, which I ended up doing for a little bit when I moved to Miami down the road 2 years later, but I didn't really keep up the competition end.
Awesome.
I had a question for you.
Yeah.
So with everything that's going on, at least with your training, how much of that was affected? Because I know you said you mostly work out of your house, right?
Yeah. So right now, not much of my routine is being affected by the stay-at-home orders. I've kind of stopped focusing heavily on weightlifting since I moved to Colorado. I've been doing a lot of running, a lot of skateboarding actually, which is super fun. Something that goes back to like my middle school, elementary school roots as a skateboarder. So that's some good exercise for me. But yeah, so I'm getting out running, trail running, and the altitude is super fun. So no, I wouldn't say that the stay-at-home orders have impacted my routine too much.
And real quick, going back to the whole CrossFit thing, what was your diet like? Because I know quite a few people who have done CrossFit over the years, and I've kind of found that they all eat the same thing, and it's like they all follow like a very paleo style diet.
Well,
did you do that?
The thing with CrossFit is that we like trends. People in the CrossFit community love trends. So when I first came into the CrossFit world, paleo was huge. So that was definitely a big influence on me. I wouldn't say I was strict paleo, but when I was 18, I did lose 30 pounds. And the biggest thing for me there was changing the quality of my food. So I had a really good mentor in the person who taught me everything I know about CrossFit, the owner of CrossFit Morristown. Her name's Kariana. And she really instilled in me that health is more so about quality over quantity. So changing the quality of my food really helped me out. Cool. And then, so after paleo, I did intermittent fasting for a while, which is where I ate for 8 hours a day, fasted for 16. I think that's the standard, what a lot of people do. I don't do that anymore, but I love that. I would recommend that to anybody who's like struggling to lose weight.
Why did you like intermittent fasting so much? I mean, I ask because I utilize it a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm more asking for anyone who's listening, who's maybe thinking like, oh, I've heard intermittent fasting and I want to give it a go.
A couple reasons. One thing is my mental cognitivity was like, I probably botched that word, but it was like off the charts. Like I was remembering things a lot better. I was waking up clear-headed. I wasn't foggy. So I think it has a big impact on that. And also it allowed me to have a deeper understanding of myself and food. So by that, I mean understanding when I'm hungry and when I'm not, and when I want to eat and when I need to eat. And I think going through intermittent fasting really helped me pick between those two modes of hunger. And now that I don't intermittent fast, it's a big advantage to be able to say like, hey, you're not really hungry right now. You're bored. So don't eat.
For sure.
What were your times you were doing for the 8 hours? Because I know that sometimes varies like based on when people get up.
Yeah, I think I was breaking my fast at 12.
Okay.
And then I would stop eating at 8.
Right?
Yeah, like 12 to 8. Sometimes I would do 1 to 9, just depends. Like if I woke up late. Yeah.
Cool. I kind of do this.
Try to be flexible with it. That's the other thing I loved about intermittent fasting is people think that it's like a rigid thing, but it's really not, because you can be so free with your times. Choose to break your fast.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because I know right now because I guess I kind of do a little bit of this right now. Now that I actually think about this, I should have figured this out a little bit earlier. But I'm doing a bit of a cut right now, and I don't eat my first meal until around 12 o'clock, and then I stop right around 8, sometimes 8:30, 9. And then I don't eat again. So I'm like, I always wanted to do intermittent fasting. I did it for a little bit, but I 100% agree with you. It's a great, I feel like everyone can do it as long as you just like understand it. But I think it's a great.
I was when I was doing research on it, I remember reading it's like the easiest diet in the world because all you have to do is not eat.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And then it's not eat and then eat enough food to be able to hold you over until you eat again. It's funny because I follow this. I don't know if you follow Mark Bell, but I follow this guy, Mark Bell, who he always says like the biggest discipline you can teach yourself is to not eat. And
yeah, if you're starting intermittent fasting, I'd say that first 4 days to a week is difficult. And then you're going to be surprised at how easily you're not hungry.
Did you ever do any crazy prolonged fast?
I've done a 3-day fast of only water. That was difficult.
What? That's crazy. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Longest I ever did was 38 hours.
How does one do it for 3 days. So I have a question for that. How did you do that?
Yeah, that's
I don't, it was
impressive.
like, yeah, it was difficult. Honestly, the first day or two wasn't hard. And then the last day was awful. Like I couldn't sleep. But I actually, his funny story, I didn't do it for physical reasons. I did it because I was reading a book by the RZA, the founder of the Wu-Tang Clan. And he's talking about how in ancient times, the Buddhists used to go on these prolonged fasts in times of struggle to like help reconnect themselves with their inner, their inner spirit. So I was going through a little bit of a tough time. So I was like, fuck it. Let's not eat for 3 days and see if anything good comes from it. I'd say it was worth it. If you're in a mental rut, maybe give it a try.
How did it, if it's, if you can touch on this, how did it help you progress with what was going on? Did you like get clarity or like?
Pretty much. It was almost like an epiphany moment. It's just like you're stripping yourself of so much, so much nutrition that you normally have. It's like your body's going into fight or flight, and you're just able to think on a level that you don't think regularly.
Like that survival level,
your
right?
focus
is pretty much
switched. You're channeling that.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a psychedelic experience in a way.
That's trippy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Would you do it again?
Shout out to my sister randomly for bringing me water.
I don't know if I would do it again, honestly. Maybe.
It's Kyle.
Oh, we went to high school together.
Sick. Worlds collide.
Sorry about that.
But anyways, Kyle, let you back to. But would you do it again?
No. Maybe. Well, I think I said I would maybe do it again. Not in the near future.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to do it again anytime soon. But if I really needed to, I would consider it because it did help me out.
So I guess as we come into the summer, and especially with quarantine, because you're obviously really familiar with this because you're able to work out at home, and obviously your diet's super on point. What would you say for the listeners is your recommended diet for right now coming into the summer to really stay in shape or get themselves in shape, with the summer coming? What would you say?
I've been trying to be super efficient at the grocery store. Like I know they're saying you should try not to go if you don't have to. So I've been buying lots of meat to keep in my freezer. I don't know. I like freezing meat so that it doesn't go bad, and B, wake up in the morning, I'm like, what do I want to eat for dinner tonight? I go into my freezer and I have some steak, I have some chicken, I have some ground beef, some ground turkey. I'll pick one out, I'll take it out, it'll thaw by the afternoon, and then I'll cook it, keep your vegetables. Basically, try and stay in a routine. It's probably my biggest advice, to stay in a routine and be efficient at the grocery store.
Yeah, that's a big one. I know even for like me too. Like we're very similar now that we're talking. This is. I do the same thing. I'm very efficient with how I go to the grocery store. I stock up on a lot of meat, a lot of veggies. I kind of plan everything out so that I'm really hitting them at the right time. Because the biggest thing that people ask me is, hey, like, how do you get in shape right now, or how are you planning on getting it for the summer? It's really easy. Just don't break from your schedule if you have one.
It's the biggest thing. Plan your day in the morning.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just like know what you're eating, and back to your quantity, or your quality over quantity.
Yeah,
you can eat like a lot of food, and like as long as it's the right food, Like if you're
people stressed over the quantity of their food, like counting macros. And counting macros is great if you're really going for like big performance goals. You're a competitive athlete, but if you're the everyday person who's trying to be healthy, counting macros is not mentally healthy. And so
I agree.
Yeah. And I got caught in that trap for a little bit, and it's not good. It's not fun. Your social life really gets affected. And so if you can learn that the quality of your food matters way, way more than the quantity, you'll be better off mentally. And
I think it's about listening to your body as well. Like a lot of people, like you said, with the whole like intermittent fasting thing, like thinking you want to eat, but you don't actually want to eat because you're bored. Like, I think a lot of people forget that most of the time when they get hungry, it's because they're bored,
Yeah, a lot of people have damaged relationships with food, and it's just due to not knowing themselves. And I think fasting is a great tool to learn yourself a little bit better.
Now, Kyle, I've got I've got a question for you, and it's going to lead into a conversation about a controversial topic, so to speak.
Swallowing your microphone, James.
Huh?
You're like swallowing.
Back up. What does Joe Rogan say? One fist, James.
No, I'm distracted by my sister running up the stairs. But yeah, kind of controversial topic is marijuana.
Yes. We didn't really touch on this in my intro, but I'm quite the cannabis advocate. I have been for a while.
You know, this is a topic that I think a lot of people are interested in. You know, we would like to talk about it today on this podcast, and then we would again like to do a whole nother podcast with you strictly just to touch on this topic. But today I want to ask you a couple of questions, and maybe Ray and Nick might too.
Sure. Everything I know is from Kyle, so
about cannabis and lifting. But like, you know what? I guess my first question is like, is it okay? Because some people don't know, and some people think it's not. Like, is it okay to smoke and work out?
Is it okay? So that's a difficult question to answer. Is it okay? That's like,
well, is it safe? Is that a better way to?
No. So both ways. Yeah. Not to say you asked a bad question, but it really depends on the person who's doing it.
Okay.
Everybody's body is so different, and the way that cannabis interacts with your body is so different for each individual person that to say to do it for me would be the same as you doing it is you can't make that comparison. So that's not really a question I could fully answer. But I would say if you're a person who is well versed using cannabis and you know yourself and you know how to dose yourself, I don't have a problem with it. I've done it. I do it. So yeah, that's my.
Let me ask you a crazy question because I've actually never done it while working out. How, or maybe how does or CBD or even pot if you're smoking before, how does that affect with pre-workout?
So the science behind this all is super unclear. Basically, the science behind cannabis in general is still very young, and most of the science and research that's conducted now is focused more on the medicinal benefits for chronic diseases, very serious illnesses, and B, a lot of research is focused on like long-term health effects. And so there's not a ton of research on short-term effects. And there's also not a ton of research on how it interacts with your body when it comes to exercise. So all that we know about how it interacts with your body when it comes to exercise is what we can infer based on what they've discovered about how it interacts with certain diseases and how it interacts with your body on a grand scale. So I could go, I don't know how in depth you guys want me to go here. If you want to save that for the cannabis podcast.
No, you can, please.
Yeah, we'll go down the hole a little bit. Yeah, I'm interested.
Okay.
I mean, interesting topic. So
yeah, so here, I have some notes too. Basically, your body is controlled by your brain and a whole web of neurological systems that send receptors between your body and your brain. And anything you feel, anything you hear, any sense is basically a receptor from your brain going to your body and telling you to feel that thing. So like if you burn your hand, a pain receptor is going from your finger to your brain and telling your brain there's pain in your finger, react, and you react by pulling your hand away. So we have this system in our bodies called the endocannabinoid system, which is something that we're born with. It's essentially a neurological system, and it helps your brain respond to changes in your internal or external environment. So basically, your brain has two cannabinoid receptors. There's the CB1 and the CB2, and these receptors are also all over your body, in your muscles. And your endocannabinoids are the key that unlocks this receptor. So they're essentially the messengers going between your brain and your body. These endocannabinoids respond to hunger, stress, pain, anxiety. That's why you hear that cannabis is like a good medicine for anxiety, right? So basically, your endocannabinoid system is responsible for balancing all these things in your body. A good example I like to use for this is stress. So if you're stressed about something, I don't know, you have a test coming up, you're about to go for a super heavy lift. That's an external force that's causing stress in your body. So your body spikes cortisol, which is a chemical is what makes your body react to stressful situations, makes you sweat, typical reactions to stress. Basically, the endocannabinoid system in a brain that's functioning properly will say, oh, wait, cortisol spiking. We need to send endocannabinoids out to the body, and we're going to balance out the cortisol spike. And so those endocannabinoids are responsible for balancing out the cortisol spike. So that's the endocannabinoid system. Where does cannabis come into this? Is that cannabis has two main compounds, THC, CBD. You've probably heard of.
May have heard of it.
Yep. So basically, THC is the one that gets you high, psychoactive. CBD does not get you high. And the thing is that there's still a lot of questions about CBD, the mechanisms of it, how it interacts with certain parts of your body, how it interacts with diseases, if it does at all. And there's still also just a lot of questions about its long-term safety. A lot more is understood about THC. Sorry, grab some water.
Yeah.
Good. And this is something that Kyle's been like very passionate about. Like I remember even in high school, Kyle, I'm pretty sure you wrote a paper about cannabis, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was 15, I was doing school projects on cannabis, and kids were looking at me like I was crazy. I would debate the legality of it in history class when I was 16. Yeah, I was a little bit ahead of my time, but anyways, so where THC fits into this is that THC binds to those CB1 and CB2 receptors and basically acts as an alternative key and mimics the endocannabinoid system. So if you think about that, it's kind of mind-blowing that a chemical from a plant can be an alternate key to a complex neurological human system. Like when I first learned that, my mind was blown. Like, wow. So I could tie this into the stress example, whereas there's research backing up the fact that cannabis is good medicine for people who have anxiety disorders, right? So someone who has an anxiety disorder, for example, now keep in mind, not a doctor. This is just what I've come to understand from my own research. But people who have an anxiety disorder, their cortisol spikes and their brain is short on producing the cannabinoids that are supposed to go and balance out that cortisol spike. So their anxiety is prolonged and their reaction to that anxiety is prolonged and their body's not able to balance it out by themselves. So cannabis comes in and is able to fill that receptor that their body's not able to fill by itself and mimic the endocannabinoid system. So THC comes in, binds to that receptor, releases endocannabinoids. There you go. Now your body is able to balance out that cortisol spike. So that's a pretty good example of how it uses medically. So to tie that in, if you want to tie that into exercise, similarly to how endocannabinoids respond to stress, they respond to inflammation. And there's research that points to that. So people are saying in the exercise field that, especially from a recovery standpoint, that after working out, take THC as fast as you can. It'll bind to the CB1 and CB2 receptors in your muscles and can help fight inflammation, which is causing your swelling, which is making you sore.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, that's something I didn't know. That is
no idea either. How does
magic plant
tie into that? I know that's like blowing up
Sorry.
right now. How does like CBD tie into that? Because I know everyone's using that. That's like a cream or like everything, like post-workout, pre-workout.
Yeah, so CBD ties into that in a similar way. It's just that it doesn't get you high, which is why it's more marketable. A, it doesn't get you high, and B, it's legal. It was made legal in all 50 states. So I would say that's really why you're seeing a lot more of it in the market, is because it's more available. But really, like from a scientific level, there's actually a lot more research and knowledge about THC. CBD is still a relatively new compound.
And with CBD, isn't it? There's like so there's CBD and then there's like hemp. And now I'm talking more in regards to the oil, I guess.
Right.
There's like CBD oil and there's hemp oil. There's a difference, right?
Okay, so there's two ways that you can get CBD from the marijuana plant. The cannabis plant has two genders, just like any flower, any plant. There's a male and a female. And the female plant is what flowers into buds that you buy, you grind, and you smoke. They get you high. That's the female plant. The female plant produces all the THC, and it also produces some CBD. Whereas the male plant produces only CBD and no THC. So the male plant is your industrial hemp that you can use. Like you can use the fibers in clothing, you can use them in construction, you can use it to cook. So that's industrial hemp. And when you extract CBD from that, it's like a very watered down version of the compound, and it has 0% THC. Whereas if you extract it from the actual cannabis plant, I believe the legal limit is 0.03% THC, where if you're selling a CBD product that's been extracted from the female cannabis plant, can't have above 0.03% THC. However, that's a stronger extract of CBD and it'll work better. So you just have to be careful when you're buying from a CBD company. There's no sort of regulation that says a company has to sell one or the other. So just look out. If you see industrial hemp oil, it's bad. If you see full spectrum hemp oil, that's what you want. Full spectrum means it has the full spectrum of cannabinoids. So it includes that small percent of THC.
So off the top of your head, do you know of any, for anybody watching this who is maybe trying to get into buying something CBD, do you have any suggestions on like websites or good companies for somebody to go to?
I do. So one really good company that I like is called Uncanna. So that's UNCANNA. They make CBD. And a reason why I really like them is they're a veteran-run brand, which is cool. Really like to support that. And they're all single source, full spectrum hemp oil, super trustworthy. That's the other thing to be careful of when you're buying CBD is that there's no sort of FDA regulation. There's no regulatory oversight into the production of these. So you really have to be careful you're buying from a reputable company.
Cool.
Similar to protein powders.
Do you know why it's not FDA approved or why it's not monitored by them?
Because it's
I'm not 100% sure, but when I come back, I could tell you because I have actually done a research project on it. I can go back and look through my notes and definitely find the answer for you guys for next time.
Cool. That sounds great to me.
Do you yourself use CBD oil? Like, do you yourself use THC or CBD for the benefit of, recovery or in regards before you do workout?
Definitely. So luckily I live in Colorado, and so I have like
beautiful Boulder,
super wide variety of cannabis products available to me. So my favorite thing to use for recovery is actually I have this cream, a body balm, that has an equal amount of THC and CBD in it. And so I basically use it as a spot treatment for any sort of muscle pain. If I have like a spot of extra soreness or even a bruise, I'll rub that on it and it helps fight the pain, helps with swelling. So that's really great. Other than that, I don't use a lot of CBD personally. Just because I find THC works super well for me.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. So ironically, when I work out my triceps, for whatever reason, that body part, I tend to overwork it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'll have like spasms like after my workouts, or my like triceps will just like flare and it just like absolutely like kills me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recommend your creams can actually
Absolutely.
be used?
And they do make, so the one that I buy from my local dispensary has THC in it, but you can buy creams that are only CBD that you can order online to all 50 states. Okay. And I believe that Uncanna company that I recommended has one. If they don't, another company I really like is called Pure Spectrum. So just Pure Spectrum CBD. They make a bunch of really cool creams, but yeah, I would definitely recommend that. Put it on before you work out, put it on after. I know Pure Spectrum makes one that actually has menthol in it, so it gives you that icy hot feeling.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna look into that because I've been looking for someone that that sells those type of products that I could like hands on, because like my triceps and then sometimes my neck for whatever reason just gets really tight. So that'll be cool. That's like really interesting. I know I have a lot of friends honestly that have muscle soreness, and that's a lot of reason why some people won't work out the next day, because they'll have their first workout. And you've probably experienced this with some of your clients, and like it goes really well, and the next day they're sore as shit, and they're like, well, "I want to do this again."
Yeah,
if you have like those products. I think it really obviously helps that too.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't experimented too much with this, but it would make sense to assume that putting this cream on before your workout and then putting it on again after will probably help at least delay some muscle soreness, if not prevent it.
Now, this is going to stray away from the current topic of THC and CBD, but it's something that I've always wanted to kind of ask you about, just because it's something Ray has always talked about. Your time with snowboarding, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but Ray mentioned you were sponsored by Monster and Volcom, I believe.
Bands.
Yeah, so it's super cool, man. These companies, they are super good at like supporting kids who love snowboarding. So like they give us free shit in exchange for going around, participating in contests, spreading their word. You know how sponsorships work. So that was a super awesome time in my life. I was pretty good at snowboarding. I got to go around competing, traveling. It was awesome. It definitely, I'd say it was a good and bad time in my life because, like I said, I wasn't the healthiest. I was having fun, but I wasn't in great shape. And so getting to CrossFit really turned me around as far as my health goes.
Did you do them at the same time, or did you you hit snowboarding first and then?
Yeah, I hit snowboarding first.
Okay.
And
how did you get those?
Transitioned into CrossFit.
How did you get that with Monster and them?
So I went to this awesome summer camp called High Cascade, and I also worked at a snowboard shop. And so the local reps that are responsible for selling Vans, so like the sneakers that you buy at your skate shop, they got to the skate shop through a rep at the company. And so the local rep would come in, we would chill out basically in the store, show him clips, be like, yo, really good snowboarders. He'd be like, yeah, take some sneakers, take some shirts. And then you basically just build your relationship up from there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The thing with action sports is a super dope like industry. Like everybody's super friendly. It's super cool. And that's why I'm super excited to get back into it now with Alpha Tech.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Alpha Tech. Damn. Camp.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was my next question. I was like, oh wait, I want to talk about
Yeah. What tell us about Alpha Tech, man. It's your company that you've started with a couple of friends out in Boulder, right?
Well, it's actually just me and one partner.
Okay.
And he's actually in Arizona. So this whole idea was his brainchild. You know, me and my best friend Kevin, we grew up snowboarding together at this summer camp. That's how we know each other. We grew up best friends, and it was funny because we always said as growing up that we wanted to start a business together. Like since we were tiny kids, we're like, yeah, we're gonna have a business together. It's gonna be so cool. And so he hits me up one day and he's like, yeah, I have this really great idea. I want you to get on board with the marketing. And yeah, so we've been working on it since then. Super cool idea that he came up with. So basically where it started is as snowboarders, we really like riding in cotton hoodies, like your favorite hoodie that you'd buy anywhere, an athletic hoodie, because A, it's not restricting in your range of motion, and B, it's just super comfortable. Like there's nothing better than the free feeling of flying down the mountain with like a cotton hoodie flapping behind you.
Yeah.
But the cons of that are that they're not waterproof at all, and they get wet and they get frozen and you get cold. So that sucks. So we were like, wish you could ride in your hoodie, have the same range of motion of your hoodie, but not sacrifice the warmth and the waterproof of your jacket. So got to brainstorming, ended up inventing this product that we call the Soft Flex. And it's a cotton hoodie on the outside, but the inside is insulated with a synthetic down material, kind of like a North Face jacket. So it can withstand negative temperatures, keeps your body heat in, and it has the style of a long pullover hoodie. So on the outside, it looks like you're rocking like a normal cotton hoodie, but on the inside, you have this layer of body heat retaining, waterproof insulation that acts like your winter jacket. So you get the comfort and mobility of a jacket without sacrificing, you get the comfort and mobility of your hoodie without sacrificing the warmth of your jacket, which is pretty cool.
That's sick. I'm actually, so I snowboard too. So I've actually thought about that. So that's actually crazy that,
really?
I'm dead serious. Cause like whenever I go to the mountain, obviously you wear your understuff, you wear a hoodie, and then you wear your heavy over jacket. And it's like the fucking heavy over jacket.
This is like your one layer, dude. Like I'm telling you, we went skiing a powder day in Utah. It was 10 degrees and I had on one long sleeve shirt and this hoodie over, and it was snowing too. It was dumping and I was dry. I was warm. Like, yeah.
That's awesome. How do you guys go about getting this manufactured? So like, how did you like approach this idea whenever you guys went to talk to whoever you had make this sweatshirt for you guys? Like, how was that process?
By the time I got on board, my partner Kevin had already had our first prototype built. And so from my understanding, he did that through Alibaba. So there's like a whole, the website Alibaba that's like,
James is very familiar with it.
We're very familiar.
Okay, yeah. So you guys know you have an apparel line. It can be a pain in the ass, but there's like a way where you can put out a request for what you need manufactured on Alibaba, and basically manufacturers from all around the world can bid on your requests. And so from my understanding, that's what he did. And luckily, one of the first manufacturers to bid on our request was able to carry out our idea. And that was just we put together Photoshop diagrams of what we wanted, ton of emails back and forth with the manufacturer, a couple phone calls. And then they came back to us with a prototype that kind of blew our minds. We were like, wow, let's go.
That's dope.
That's
so
honestly,
there is hope in Alibaba.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, man. If I was, because I'm honestly trying to find it right now. I want to take a look at it. How is the best? How can I find you guys on the internet? Is it just Alpha Tech Hoodies, or how do I find you?
So we have launched our social media and our website, but we haven't actually started selling the hoodie yet. We have our launch scheduled for fall 2020.
Oh, man.
But you can find our website at alphatechapparel.com.
Is the coronavirus affecting anything in regards to like production, or like when you
actually not? Like we were really scared that it would, but we actually just heard from our manufacturer that everything is squared away. Okay, we're on track to get our first order for fall.
Lucky you.
Yeah, man, you must have just made it, like literally.
Are you guys? Well, we were supposed to get an order in January, but the Chinese New Year got extended this year because of the virus, I think, or something. So they were out of commission for almost a month and a half, and that prevented us from being able to launch in the winter like we wanted. But now that I think about it, that might have been a blessing in disguise because the ski season was cut short. So
yeah, true. I didn't think about it. I only got to go up like 3 times. You're probably very familiar with Mountain Creek. Mm-hmm. I got to go there for like half a day. I got to hit up where did I go? Shit. I went to Hunter twice, and then I got to one other spot that I'm just blanking on. But I didn't get to go at all this year, and it sucked.
It's been rough. So like I don't know. I'm kinda glad we didn't end up getting our order, because I feel like we would have trouble selling them now that nobody can snowboard.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys have any
looking at them, by the way, for everyone watching? These are sick, by the way.
They are dope.
Oh yeah, I looked at them, dude. I don't even fucking snowboard. I'm gonna buy one soon.
We also, we have a product called the Everyday that is not for any snowboarders or skiers. It's actually just our hoodie. We kind of went back on the insulation, so it's not as heavily insulated, so you can wear it off the mountain.
Dude, these are fire. These are sick. So straight up, these are sick.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah.
I like the tan one, the soft flex, the tan and black.
Yeah, that's called the Steez, that colorway. That's my favorite one too. It's kind of like Colorado Boulder colors, like my university.
I was gonna say that's a very snowboardy scheme there. Yeah, that's dope.
So as the chief of marketing, what's kind of your guys' plan for like the spring/summer? Being that you're planning your launch in the fall, so like what's your agenda with Alpha Tech for the spring and summer?
Customer acquisition mainly. So for us, that really looks like building our following on Instagram. And that's a challenge for us in a sense now because we were relying on having 2.5 months almost, or 2 months left of a snowboard season in Colorado, that we were going to utilize to film commercials, do all sorts of like on-hill demonstrations, but now we can't do that. So we've run into a little bit of a challenge with creating content, but yeah, it's nothing we can't handle. Like we're partnering up with a page that's going to review our sweatshirt. So that should drive some traffic. And the main challenge is driving traffic that fits into our target market, because we have kind of a specific target market in the community of snowboarders and skiers that ride freestyle in the park. So that's like your slope style competitors, your park rats, people who ride rails, do jumps.
Yeah.
So it's some specific social media targeting there.
Cool. That's interesting because that is a smaller kind of pool. So I know with James, I know there's more your area with the targeting people. So what would you kind of suggest for Alpha Tech, or like kind of for them to do for something like that if there are a smaller kind of thing?
I mean, I'd say stick to what you guys are doing, man. It looks like what you guys are doing is good. I mean, it's Boulder, right? So it's gonna snow all the time. I know what's the deal with is everything in regards to snowboarding closed out there?
Yeah. So, basically the way it works is mostly all of the big ski resorts and mountains in America, pretty much in the world, are owned by 3 to 5 big corporations that run and manage every ski resort. So weeks ago, I'd say like the week of March 16th, like the week that everything kind of went down,
It hit the fan.
They decided to close. A lot of them, they said we're going to close for the month, and then 2 weeks later said we're going to close indefinitely. So I think there's not a resort in the world left that's still open.
Wow.
But it's also, we've been having strange weather here. It's been in the 70s for the past week. So
I love Boulder.
We haven't been getting snow. However, it's supposed to snow next week. So there might be some good news there.
That's crazy. You're going from freaking 70-degree weather back to snowing.
Yeah, and elevation is crazy. We also live in I believe Boulder's a valley, so the weather patterns in Boulder are like way different than they are in Denver, which is funny because it's only 30 minutes away.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, you don't even think about that. Like how I didn't even think about that. Like the people who own all the damn ski resorts in the entire world is like 3 to 5 companies. You think?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Like a lot of
fucking
like your bottled water. Think about how many bottled water brands there are, but in actuality, I learned this in my business class. There's only 3 corporations that own all the water bottling plants in the world. However, there's so many brands, so it's just kind of crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah,
that makes sense. That's wild.
Yeah.
So when in fall of 2020 are you guys hoping to drop?
September.
Okay.
Give people enough time to get excited for the season, but not too much time for them to like buy their sweatshirt and have it sit around.
You guys gonna have like a limited quantity, or
Yeah. So our first order is 270 units, split up between small, extra large. So once that first order sells out, that'll be it for at least the beginning of the season, and then we'll see about the beginning of 2021. There might be a second round.
And then if that goes well, will you guys sell throughout the year, or will you just wait to produce over the summer and then sell again?
I think that's to be determined based on how the first 2 rounds go. But we do have a 5-year plan in our business plan. So hopefully we can stick to that.
There you go.
That's awesome.
What price range are you looking at if you guys have one?
The jackets are going to be 170 or 175. I forget exactly, but it's 170 or 175.
The soft flexes, right? The sweatshirt jacket.
Yep.
Sweet.
That's our flagship product. Our invention is the soft flex. Yeah.
That's a solid price. It's very competitive. That's good. Cool. And Ray, what'd you say? You had something?
No, that was I'm
Did I steal your question?
yeah. I'm like blank. That was just a lot of knowledge just dumped on me right there, man. That was awesome.
Definitely gonna have to do a part 2 because I'm curious about the CBD THC thing. I think that'll be a really cool follow up that we could do for this. I think the users.
Yeah, if you guys want to like, you guys can send me like a list of questions. I don't know if you want to have your listeners ask some questions to send me for the next time. I can like come with actual research and facts for the questions next time.
Yeah, cool, man. We'll definitely set that up. I think I think that's a topic that just needs its own full.
Yeah, it's definitely an underexplained topic that I think people definitely wonder about because there's also a lot of misinformation out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People don't know what they don't know.
It's kind of hard to cut through the misinformation. So I've spent a lot of time sifting through it. So hopefully I can help everybody out.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, because like we did another controversial topic. We did an episode. One of our first ones actually was on like drinking and working out. Obviously, there's no benefits. There's no benefits at all. But it can be done. You know, you can drink and still have a good body, have a good fitness plan, and all that.
Right.
I think the cool thing about the THC CBD aspect is it's truly. I think it's the complete opposite. You know, it's viable and it's good to do.
I would say it's very good to do in the rare case. I know one person who has a mental disorder, like a psychotic disorder, and he can't smoke. So, I mean, with those rare exceptions, cannabis really is kind of a wonder plant.
Interesting. Yeah, really cool. Really.
To be continued.
Kyle, man, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast.
I had a great time.
Took away a lot from.
I miss you guys.
I miss you,
Ray.
Miss you too, buddy.
I miss you more, and I haven't even met you.
I know. We need to hang out next time I come to New Jersey.
Hell yeah, man.
Definitely need to chill, man. And I'm very much looking forward to the launch of your product line because that's just going to be awesome. I think that's going to take over the whole snowboarding thing soon. The logo's nice, the colors are nice. The whole invention of it is just well put together, and I think
I appreciate that.
Kill it.
Awesome. And next time, hopefully, I get my webcam fixed so I can smile.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a big weed plant as your emoji.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
And do like a weed plant with a smiley face on it.
Yeah.
They will be recording that tomorrow, so that'll be at some point soon. So a lot of good content coming out. Make sure you're following our Instagram page, seeing all the workouts, seeing all the nutrition stuff going up on there, and just want to continue entertaining you guys through this tough time with the COVID-19. So, James, if you have anything to add on there.
Thank you for watching.
Peace, guys.
Later, Kyle.
Later, man.
Pleasure meeting you, my man.
Of course. See you next time.